So today I'm speaking with Miranda Daisy. Miranda is an absolute superstar for her support and advocacy in the disability sector. At 19 years old, she saw a huge gap in the performing arts industry and built Performability, an accessible performing arts centre that celebrates the joy of performance for everyone. 12 years later, Performability runs classes across Australia and is teaching other dance schools on an inclusive approach to teaching. It's so good to have you here. Now,
Pleasure.
tell me, I think starting a business at 19 is super impressive as it is, but what motivated you so early on to focus on diversity and inclusion with your business?
It honestly just happened. I didn't know anyone with a disability, no friends or family, but after leaving school, I started teaching dance and singing, and then quickly opened my own studio, which wasn't for people with disabilities, but we had someone join us, Brody, and she had Down syndrome and hearing impairments. She's mostly deaf. She taught me my first sign language. A lot of it wasn't appropriate, but it was wonderful to learn.
Love it.
And she was just super inspiring. And I was so fascinated by the way that she learned. She was more in time with the beat of the music than the other students. And it was because she could feel the bass in the floor through the speakers. And it just sort of sparked something in me to want to learn more. And then at the end of the concert that year, she stole the show, of course. Had to get the hook to get her off. Her mum, she was so grateful because she had been turned away from other studios before who said they didn't have capacity for her. And she just asked, could we please open something for more people like Brody? So that's how it started.
You've obviously got a huge focus on accessibility, but for other brands or businesses out there, what could they be doing to be more proactively accessible?
Top tips. Things need to be easy to read. That's a really important thing for people that can't read, for people who have intellectual disabilities, but even for people that use English as a second language. Sometimes the things that go out there are really difficult to read. Top tips on social media is for people who are blind, it's really good to use capital letters at the start of each of your words within a hashtag. So if the hashtag is performability, it would be capital P, capital A. And that's because the screen reader can read that. Whereas without that break, it just sounds like one confusing big word. But just making sure everything on the website is accessible. So all of the images have text with them. There's awesome widgets you can get that can read out your website, change the color of them for people with dyslexia. And yeah, and I think the images, because they can read then the words, they link those keywords or something. And in terms of, taking any longer, especially with the hashtags, if you use the voice recorder, it automatically adds all the capital letters. So that's so much faster than typing them all out.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, if you're designing for accessibility, you are really designing for Google because they've got robots that are searching through everything.
Yeah.
It works in exactly the same way. So there you go. It's better for the world. It's also better for you. So, in terms of the rebrand work, it was recently awarded silver at the Sydney Design Awards, which was very exciting. But more exciting than that is that they have selected to elevate it into the Australian Design Awards. Now, the Australian Design Awards represent courageous, excellent, and diverse projects that are transforming Australia into the future that we collectively imagine and want to create. And I love that idea. And it made me curious, Miranda, what is the future that you imagine, both for performability and maybe even inclusivity in Australia?
So when you are opened up to the world of accessibility, you can't stop seeing the issues everywhere. Places that don't have wheelchair accessibility, and not even maybe an elevator or things, but even hallways that are too skinny, or places that don't have little ramps and it's a gutter that's not going to work for a wheelchair. When we had all the COVID check-in signs, they were too high. People who have dwarfism or people in a wheelchair can't reach them, like simple stuff like that I kind of look around now and just scan everything.
That's the thing. You've got the lens, right? You've got that lens that's geared that way.
Yeah, it's so different. And I feel like we need to completely redo society. I think we just knock everything down and rebuild it because we don't live in an accessible world.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I've got to say, I have had the great pleasure of knowing you for quite a while now. I don't know how long, but I feel like it's quite a long time. Do you know?
Years, I think.
Many years. And
Yeah.
I just feel very, very constantly inspired by the work that you're doing. You're a superstar, Miranda. And, you know, I'm really grateful to have this time with you as well. So thank you.